Hey guys, today we're working on a Whirlpool. We call these Series 70 or Series 80 dryers. Sometimes they also have a Kenmore badge instead of Whirlpool. Sometimes they'll even say Maytag or KitchenAid. There's a few different brands, but it's really the same machine. What you could look for if you said, well, is it the machine that Scott's talking about? It'll have this kind of a filter that you can pull out from the top. And the other thing that you could look at is down here, it'll have a little plastic tab, which is an inspection area where you can look in. So this is a dryer that was, again, just out on the curb. And what I'll be doing is going through with you guys all the things you could do to renovate and get this dryer in tip-top shape. So it's basically brand new. And after I do those videos, I'll probably end up selling this dryer, but it's going to be almost like new. Really highly recommend this style of dryer, that Series 70 or Series 80 dryer. This one is a gas dryer, but they are really tough. If you look at the back of them, kind of a common look here is you have this little plate and you have these little screws here, and this kind of outside back panel. That's a Series 70 or Series 80. They're really, really tough. We had ours for about 22 years, and it just kept going and going and going. So if you have one of these, please don't get rid of it. Watch this video and you'll learn how to renovate it and get it working really good. I'll show you one we have inside the house that's the same basic dryer, but just looks a little bit different. So this one actually says Maytag, right? But it's the same dryer. It's the same, which you might say is the same chassis. Like, you know, with cars, you might have a GMC Yukon and you have a Chevy Tahoe, but they are the same, really the same car, same chassis, just different trim. Similar with this. This is that same Series 70, Series 80. How do you know? Well, you got the same upper filter, exactly like the one we just looked at. And you have that same little inspection thing there. And they are really good dryers. They last so long. So this will be a fun video to see how to keep these things going. The parts you can get for them, we'll put some links in the description below, but they're very inexpensive and actually really easy to work on. So we're going to get into this model now and cover some of the basic things you can do. They're very easy. That'll make this last for years and years. So let's say you have this dryer and when you turn it on, nothing happens, or maybe the motor runs, but there's no heat. Usually what happens when thermal fuse goes out on it, gets too hot, it cuts power and nothing's going to happen. It could be the door switch is having trouble, but it's probably a little thermal fuse, which is just hiding behind this back panel. So we have a 5/16 socket, and we're going to zip out these screws that are holding on this back panel. You'll notice though, right here, this little panel is going to come off because you have to take out that screw too. So let's do that real quick, and then we'll get to it. Actually, these are 1/4 inch, so we're using one a little smaller. If you ever don't have a 1/4 inch bit with you like this, you can actually use the end of your extension because it's actually the same. I like to use the socket because it has a little magnet in there too. We'll just zip these out and then we'll show you where that fuse is at. So we just took out that one. And now this little plate's going to come off. It's okay for that to come off. You just pull it towards you, comes out of this slot, and we can get the rest of it. Okay, this will be the last screw. And now this plate will come off. And I'll show you guys a couple of interesting things on the back here. By the way, this dryer, again, we just found this in the neighborhood. It was out on the curb. It's actually in pretty good shape. I don't think this one is even that old. But you have a couple of things that could blow because it gets too hot. Usually it gets too hot because the dryer vent tube gets obstructed. And if that happens, usually this guy right here, this white one, thermal fuse, make sure you have it unplugged because you don't want to touch these things unless it's unplugged. This one gets too hot, it blows, and that cuts power. This one is just the thermostat. In all the years I've been fixing these dryers, I don't think I've ever had to replace that piece. But that goes out often. And these two are also, we call them thermal cutoffs. When they get too hot, they'll cut power to the heater, this one and this one. And out of these two, the one I've seen go out most often is this one. So this one and this one are the most common. If your light goes out inside your dryer, you probably just have a bad bulb, which is right here. It's very easy to get this bulb out, this assembly out, and you can switch out that bulb. They're really cheap. If you ever have a situation where the dryer motor just seems like it's really struggling to go, it could be that inside here, but in this, behind this casing is a big blower wheel. It might have like a sock got sucked into it and it's trying to turn, but it's just stuck. If you remove these perimeter screws and you remove a couple of Phillips head screws here, you can lift this whole cowling out from the dryer, and that'll expose that blower wheel, and that'll let you get rid of any lint that's in there or any sock that might have got sucked in. So again, the problems that are most common when you're looking at the back is this thermal fuse here and these two guys, especially this one. We'll check the continuity. Again, this is not my dryer, so I don't know. This was just out on the curb. Maybe one of these blew, and that's why they were getting rid of it. Whenever you test a thermal cutoff, it's good to remove one of the, we call it the legs, or one of the wires from one of the terminals before you do the test. So we'll do that and we'll check a continuity test. So sometimes these are kind of hard to get off, but if you use some needle nose pliers, kind of wiggle, you can get them off. We did test this one and we had continuity. We had an auditory beep when we connected our probes here and here. We got beep, so that shows that electrons can flow through this thing and it's okay. So you still want to check two other ones. Just pull off one of these legs, kind of wiggle and pull, and you don't have to take this one off, but you can take your probe and put it right where the copper is, and right there, and you should get that beep, and then you're okay. If you don't, then you might need to replace that one. And you do the same on this one. And you don't even have to get this all the way off, because you can see these were exposed, but it's best to get it off so you don't get a feedback. Gives you a better reading. Put a probe here, you should get the beep, and then you're okay. So we tested these, and these are all good. So we know that this dryer is in good shape. Again, it looks unusually clean. Usually these dryers have a little bit of corrosion. We got some lint down here, but that's fairly normal. So we're going to clean that up, put the case back on, and then we're going to go over how to get to the front where we have the drum, we have the heating mechanism, the burner, and some other parts that we'll learn how to replace. To get this back panel back on, I got to get this little cutout over that pipe and get this cutout over this one. Then I'll just start one of the screws right here in the corner. Put it off here. It's sitting down as far as it should. There we go. I'm going to lift up a little bit to line up that hole. Okay, we're going to add all those screws. I'm going to put these in kind of loosely as they go. I don't want to tighten them all the way down, because as I put them in, sometimes I have to lift up a little bit just to line up the hole better, and if it's loose I can lift it better. And I got this funny one that has a tab, goes in there, and then I'll close it there. So you got these magnetic drivers. It's pretty cool because the magnet holds it in and gives you one-handed operation. You can use your other hand to hold stuff. And this kind of a drill driver, you can move this clutch so that it doesn't over tighten. When you start tightening it, you'll hear it click. And that's just so you don't strip anything. Hear that sound? I'm using a 12. Whenever you work on any machine, I'd be a little cautious of these edges. Sheet metal, sometimes they're sharp. This model, kind of round them off, which is really nice, but some other brands, you can get pretty torn up, so be careful. Maybe wear gloves or just take your time so you're not going to get sliced, because it is like a knife. Last one. All right, so to get off the top panel and then the front panel, pretty easy. You do want to take out the filter first. We're going to remove these two Phillips head screws. And be careful that these don't fall in, so kind of hold them. There we go. Now we're going to use a paint scraper to press in on a couple of tabs to get this off. The tabs are usually about right there. You should be able to feel it. There's one. You push in, and that allows me to lift it. So it's in about 2 inches. I can lift this up. This is too close to the wall. It kind of gets jammed, so you might want to pull the dryer away from the wall a little bit. Just come back. But you can just use the wall, would work great. So we've got the top open. If you ever hear a lot of rattling in your dryer, if you want to get rid of that noise, when you get to this position, you can spin out this one, and this one, and that'll let you take off this plastic vane right here. And sometimes they get full of coins, like coins slip in, and it can be kind of loud. This dryer has 3 of those vanes, so you can do one, empty it, and then put the vane back, put the screws back. You can turn it, and then go to the next one. This looks really nice inside. So now we want to disconnect the door switch. Door switch is really easy to get to right here. The door switch, this lever, you can hear a click. And that tells the machine that the door is closed. Sometimes these break, this lever breaks, and your dryer won't start because it thinks the door's open. They're really easy to switch out. I'm just going to disconnect that right now. There we go. It's moving. See it? Okay, that's separated. Now to get the front panel off, we just have to pull that screw and that screw, and this whole front panel will come off and allow us to get to some other important parts. Okay, I'm going to remove that screw there. Catch it. Do this one over here, same thing. Okay. Now I want to lift up on the front panel a little bit, about 1/2 inch, get it off of some clips, and I can pull it off. I'll lift up a little bit. That one off. There we go. Okay. Pull this away, and we can take a look at some of the parts inside here. So down in here, we have the motor, we have the belt, we have the burner assembly. And these are some real important parts. If you're not getting your dryers not working, you might have to replace these coils, or maybe the igniter, or it might have a belt that breaks. So if you wanted to get the belt off, if it's still intact, it's pretty easy. You got to pull this idler pulley back to get the pressure off of it. So I'm going to move it to my right this way. My other hand is going to grab the belt and get it off of this motor pulley. So I'm going to push the idler pulley to my right. It kind of takes the tension off, and then I'm going to get this belt to come off of the motor pulley like that. Now I can get the drum out and then have better access. Lift that on out. So again, looking in here, it's very, very clean. It's unusually clean. Sometimes you find some coins in there. That's pretty normal. Some lint. As technicians, we open these up sometimes, and it's lint everywhere, which is really bad. That's a fire danger. But this one looks great. So we're going to work on how to switch out these coils, how to switch out the igniter, maybe how to switch out the flame sensor, how we can clean the motor to make it run better, and also how to replace these roller wheels if you need to. I want to draw your attention to this thing here. Not all models have this, but it's called a moisture sensor. And you want to take like a paper towel with some alcohol, or you could use a wire brush and clean these metal contacts, because they can get like a film of sometimes dry detergent, or drier vent sheets can clog these up and they don't work as good. So you want to clean those off. So the next thing we'll go over in our video is how to clean this motor so that it's going to work really good. Watching our video, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance, and also click the little bell notification button so we can send you weekly videos on all the different ways of fixing appliances around your home and saving you lots of money. So thanks again for watching, and please also press the like button for our video if this was helpful to you. Feel free to contact me at the email listed below, which is scottthefixitguy@yahoo.com, with any of your questions.